Hi everyone, welcome to our Friday TNT. Somehow we got to the end of the working week. Tomorrow we've got our live program, 9 a.m. Thai time. Invite you to drop in and, check out the conversation. Really have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but it's live and you can join the comments section. It's free for everybody, so we look forward to seeing you then. Now we've got quite a lot to get through today, so let's get stuck into it. We start with some good news from Thai PBS World. And 17 former Hamas Thai hostages arrived safely in Bangkok. 17 of the 32 Thai nationals taken hostage by Hamas and who were released this week arrived in Bangkok that's yesterday afternoon. They're the first of the Thai hostages returning home. And further down there, one of the Thais told reporters they'd kept their spirits up while being detained by Hamas, adding that their captors had treated them well, to a certain extent given the circumstances, and they could not describe it as bad. And the Thai foreign minister said he took the opportunity of being in Israel to meet senior Israeli government officials, thanking them for their hospitality. He did say, however, that there's no reliable intelligence on the whereabouts or well-being of those who remain in captivity. By yesterday, 23 Thais had been released while another 9 are still being held by Hamas. So welcome back to those hostages, and of course we look forward to the safe release of the remaining hostages and their return to Thailand as well. Now yesterday we reported about a reported price rise of electricity. Well, BangkokPost.com reports power rate hike plan shocks PM. Not sure if that's a pun or he was genuinely shocked. The Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin will hold a discussion with relevant agencies after news emerged that the ERC is planning to raise the power tariff from nearly 4 baht per unit to 4.6 baht per unit from next January. And he says the rate's unacceptable, it's too high. As chairman of the ERC, I'll call a meeting to discuss the rate. I can't allow that. And that said, he conceded that the power rate is likely to be raised anyway, though by how much is yet to be decided. He also insisted the government will find a win-win solution both for consumers and plant operators. Responding to the Prime Minister's statement, a spokesperson for the Energy Ministry said yesterday the new rate of 4.68 baht per unit is only a suggestion, and the final decision is yet to be made. It's subject to the review by the Minister. Meanwhile, the Vice Chairman of the Federation of Thai Industries says the government's unlikely to adopt the proposed rate and will find ways to push the cost down. And a List MP from the Move Forward Party said electricity bills are expensive because in Thailand, power generation relies on liquid natural gas imports, while much of the domestic supply goes on petrochemical industries. He said natural gas in the Gulf of Thailand, which is cheaper, should be reallocated for generation to help bring down electricity bills. So let's hope it was just a suggestion and the bills won't go up as much as was reported yesterday. Probably we'll find some compromise in the middle. Now, I am going to Bangkok on Monday. I fly out later in the morning, staying there all day Monday and Tuesday, coming back on Tuesday night. So I was looking for accommodation and I thought, I'll sort of stick to the area I know around that sort of Asok area, in between Sukhumvit Road and Phetchaburi Road. Quite a lot of different accommodation along there, plus this one, which I'd never seen before, which was a tent. So right in the middle of, one of the sort of most populated parts of town, around the Asok area, not too far away from the Asok BTS. Yes, indeed, you can find a tent for 650 baht. Not sure about that photo. Doesn't really represent the Asok area as I know it, but I didn't really click any further. I thought at the age of 64, I probably these days deserve a bed rather than just a tent. Now, big thanks to our sponsors, 5 Star Marine. You can find them at 5starmarinephuket.com. Read about all the different destinations and the services they provide, the excellent staff and the fine boats that they use to take you out to all those islands around Phangar Bay on your next visit to Phuket. Now, a lot of things have been happening in regards to attracting tourists back to Thailand, some of them working better than others. How about this one? Reported in BangkokPost.com, new criteria for VAT refunds for tourists to reduce waiting queues. The Revenue Department has improved VAT refunds for tourists to reduce waiting queues to declare their goods. And this is taking effect from today. And the value of goods that must be shown to customs officers has increased from 5,000 to 2,000 baht. And this will reduce the number of tourists who must show their goods from 1.7 million people a year to around 500,000. And the value of 9 products, and that includes jewellery, gold ornaments, watches, eyeglasses, pens, smartphones, laptops or tablets and handbags, to be shown to revenue officials is increased from 10,000 baht to 40,000 baht per item. So just another way of getting rid of some of the queues, but there's also some more news about VAT, and reported in nationthailand.com. Thailand's move to end duty-free on arrival hits headwinds from airports. And the AOT is expressing concern about the move to abolish duty-free shops upon arrival, complaining it would reduce revenue shared with duty-free operator King Power. Now, you can bet that King Power's been on the phone having a whinge about this one. The Finance Ministry has proposed cancelling duty-free for arriving passengers as a measure to encourage foreign tourists and returning Thai travellers to make purchases within the country. And the aim is to turn Thailand into a top international shopping destination, boosting sales of high-value locally made items such as perfumes, clothes and fashion bags. But duty-free shops in departures will stay in place. And the Finance Ministry will hold talks with the Customs Department and Excise Department today to review the measures before they go back to Cabinet for final approval. So you can bet the phones will be running hot between the AOT, King Power and the various ministers involved in that decision. Now, to this next story, and you'd remember back in October, late October, there was a fugitive that escaped from southern Thailand, and he's been giving the police and rangers down in southern Thailand a merry chase as he's evaded capture, even though at one stage a shootout was reported, and he was even reported as killed, but indeed not so. In fact, he spent some of the time releasing social media videos claiming his innocence and explaining that it's not all his fault. There's quite a few people in very high positions that need to be checked out, which leads to this story from nationthailand.com. Songkhla prosecutor transferred following allegations by escaped crime boss. And the Attorney General has transferred a public prosecutor from his Songkhla office following allegations by an escaped crime boss that he was involved in drug trafficking and setting him up. And the spokesperson for the Office of Attorney General says the Songkhla prosecutor, identified only as Prosecutor Boy, has been moved to the Human Trafficking Division of the OAG head office. And Prosecutor Boy was accused by the fugitive crime boss Chawalit, alias Boss Pang of Patalung, of setting him up, causing him to be arrested, charged and convicted for drug trafficking and attempting to free a drug suspect from police custody. And Chawalit escaped from police custody on October the 22nd after faking an illness and being admitted to the Nakhon Si Thammarat hospital. He was serving a term of 20 years and 3 months for multiple crimes, including illegal possession of firearms and attempting to use firearms to free a drug suspect from police custody. And despite being notorious for several crimes in Patalung, Chawalit has apparently turned into a Robin Hood-like hero to many on the social networks after managing to embarrass police. And in a second video clip released on November 25, Chawalit claimed that since he was singled out and no legal action had been taken against other suspects, including Boy, he would not turn himself into police. But on Wednesday night, Chawalit released the third video clip addressing the Supreme Court President, the Appeals Court President, and the Chief of the Patalung Provincial Court. In this clip, Chawalit asked why he was not released on bail while other suspects were granted bail by the Patalung Court. And you'd have to imagine that the longer he remains on the run, the more video clips he releases, the more names in high places that he names, the more his Robin Hood status will continue. So an interesting way that story is developing. Still on the run. The end of the working week, but the start of a brand new month, the 1st of December, and sad news for readers of the Pattaya Mail. Now, not the online publication, but the printed publication. And Pattaya Mail is reporting that the Pattaya Mail signs off after 30 years of print journalism. They say this is the last printed issue of the Pattaya Mail, marking the end of an era for Pattaya's most esteemed publication. The Pattaya Mail was founded in 1993 as a weekly English-language newspaper covering local, national and international news with a focus on Pattaya and its surrounding areas. They say it's become a trusted friend and companion to our readers, offering a unique blend of information, entertainment and community engagement. And they say, while recognising the need to adapt, they assure the readers that they're not saying goodbye to them. Their publication will continue its legacy in the digital realm. And you'll be able to do that by going, as I did, to pattayamail.com. There's their first issue, some 30 years ago. Pattaya Mail at last, a real newspaper for Pattaya. And they're reporting 5 dyers truck and bus crash head-on, the barbecue floating market dinner, and score a strike for the city. And that's from the government. And that publication, back on Friday, March the 12th in 1993. So, best wishes to the Pattaya Mail as another printed publication bites the dust. I'm thinking as far as weekly newspapers are concerned in English, I don't know, I thought maybe only the Phuket News remains. So, thumbs up to Jason and the team there. Don't know how they do it, but they keep on pumping out that newspaper every single week. And to the next story, and this very, very long headline, published by dailymail.co.uk, and as usual they pretty much explain the entire story in the headline. Uninsured British tourist 41 is left stranded in hellhole Thai hospital with puddles of blood and needles on the floor after falling ill with suspected leukemia as pals bid to raise £10,000 to fly him home. And Dean Penson fell sick on the island of Phuket in the south of Thailand. And it goes on saying doctors now fear he may have the deadly blood cancer. But alongside his terrifying prognosis, the labourer has faced horrific conditions at the local government-run Washira Phuket hospital as he didn't take out insurance. So, well, part of the story obviously is about trying to remind people if they're going to travel to Thailand to make sure they've got travel or health insurance when they get here. But there's more to this story. And friends say the infirmary has puddles of blood on the floor, needles strewn on the ground and people dying just feet away. And Dean's best friend Ben, who had been with him during the stay at the Third World Open Clinic, said they'll need to find around, nearly £10,000 for the medical bills and the flight to get him home. And Ben sent some photos to the Daily Mail, and the caption there says, a stool that appears to be blood-stained beside a bag of litter at the hospital. And Ben saying there's blood everywhere, there's needles everywhere. And there's blood all over Dean's bed. There's been blood on the cover since he got there. There's no toilet roll. You just have to wash with a hose. I think that's called a bum gun. And next, and the nurses have messed up so many times. They've pulled a needle out of him and the blood just pours out. And 3 people have died next to him over the last 3 or 4 days and there are no curtains. The machines are on all night so he can't sleep. But it's just horrendous at the hospital. We wouldn't treat an animal in a vet's this way. At one point they smashed his bed against the wall, but he's a high risk of brain hemorrhage. It's been horrible seeing him like this. And the rather long article finishes, a GoFundMe account set up for Dean has so far raised more than £3,000 of the nearly £10,000 goal. Okay, so there's a lot to discuss there, and I've been to the Phuket Washira Hospital many times. It's the largest public hospital on the island. And I've been there as a patient, I've been there as a visitor, even spent 2 or 3 weeks there probably about 3 or 4 years ago, going in every day as a friend was convalescing and helping them, and well, seeing a lot around the hospital and getting to know some of the staff. I've never seen anything like that as described, either in their emergency section or in just the public wards. So I think there's probably more to this story. Perhaps a little bit of exaggeration, a bit of setting up the photos in such a way that things look a little bit worse than they actually are as they try and raise that money for the GoFundMe page. The bottom line on this is if you are going to come to Thailand, make sure you've got travel insurance or your health insurance is going to cover you while you're here, because you don't want to end up in a hospital worrying about having to pay the bills. And with that, I thank you very much for dropping in today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. I've actually got plenty of other stories I just couldn't get to today, but we'll leave some of those for tomorrow morning. We look forward to seeing you at 9 a.m. for the live show. And then on Sunday, of course, Grumpy Old Men with Steve Ross. Otherwise, have a fantastic Friday, and we'll see you soon.